Welcome back to the Legacy Builder podcast, where it is our job to talk about all things business. Even if you're not a business owner or an entrepreneur, there are things that we're going to talk about here that anybody can take away and learn from. If you have a family, if you have a spouse, or if you have goals and objectives, there are things that you will learn during this podcast. And the one thing we're going to talk about here today, and before I get into it, we have with us Jeanne Scharf, a business planning consultant. Good morning, Jeanne.
Good morning, Jared.
And the topic that we're going to be talking about today is how long it takes to get your finances in order. And what I mean by that is how long does it take to set up a budget, to set up a process for financial reporting, because there's a lot of businesses out there that will get into business, and it's easier to work in the business than on it. And we catch ourselves wanting to go out and do the work versus doing the budget, the cash flows. And so we want to answer that question here, Jeanne. First of all, what's the process? If someone says, I want to become more serious about the finances, either for my business or personally, what are the steps, would you say?
Certainly. The first step is we need to have a good set of books. In other words, what kind of an accounting system is being utilized in your business today, and what's the data that's coming out of it? Is it reconciled? So in other words, are the balance sheet changes consistent with what's going on in your income statement? Do you have a good solid chart of accounts? And so back to your question, Jared, about what's the starting point? Really the starting point is to have a good accounting software program that will provide you with just even the basics of financial reporting, which is a balance sheet, an income and expense statement, a cash flow statement, and a good chart of accounts.
Yep. And if you're a business owner, and if you've been doing it, there's a lot of small businesses that will buy, like QuickBooks or some of those out there and use it themselves, but they never really use it to the extent that they should be. And they're usually the first to admit it. How long does it take to get it to a point where they need it to be effective?
Well, I would suggest that depending upon the expertise and the use of that software program, it may take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to really research the chart of accounts, perhaps change the chart of accounts that's being used to a more consistent format, and then reconcile the data and any general ledger changes that need to be made within that program to give you a good starting point to springboard off of as you go into the following year, for example.
And if I'm a business owner, I got 19 things to do already. How do I find the time to start doing that? I mean, is that something that it's valuable for an outside party to do, or is that something that most business owners themselves learn and figure out?
I would suggest to you that not many business owners also work on their books. They generally have a third party doing the accounting work for them, or at least the bookkeeping part of it.
Yep.
And so as a business owner, you've got so many other things that you're focused on and should be focused on, that doing that bookkeeping entry work really should be done by a third party.
Yeah, yep. Okay, so your books are cleaned up, things are starting to tie out. Then what? What's the next step, and what's the timeline around that?
Sure. So if we've got a good tie out, a good closeout of information, and we're looking to provide you with that management kind of reporting that you want to be looking for in your business, we're looking at probably another 4 to 6 weeks to really get a good understanding of your business, where you want to go, where are we at in the budgeting process, and then move that forward, so that the ultimate goal, of course, is to provide or to have that information available to you as a business owner to manage by the numbers. And so it almost becomes second nature, because you pick up a report with some key performance indicators, metrics that you've developed as a business owner for your business, such as owner equity, working capital levels, repayment capacity, return on investment, return on assets, some just very key basic indicators that you can carry forward and and understand as you move throughout the year.
So about another 4 to 6 weeks in total to have a budget put in place for the business, to have the books cleaned up and things tying out. How much time as the business owner am I going to spend in that process? Versus, I know that during that 4 to 6 weeks, there's going to be some work that I have to do. There's some work that third party is going to do. Can you give me some guidance how you don't scare me off to ever wanting to go into this process? Because I'm sweating a little bit already thinking about that.
Sure. Really, as a business owner, you're going to want to allocate some time, maybe up to a couple weeks, as we springboard the process. We call it onboarding. Once your business is onboarded into a process like this, your time should be much less. In other words, the time that you allocate to the financials is really to pick up that management report and then develop your business around what is being shown to you from the last quarter's perspective. So, for example, if you're in the first quarter or the second quarter of 2021 and your business is performing the way you want it to be performing, really you should be spending not a lot of time on the financial piece of it once you get to that point.
And I think of a client that came to us this year for help with their books. It's a successful company, growing company, but they're saying, we have money coming in, going out. We don't know if we're truly being profitable. We got to add more employees. How do we know if we can afford the employees? Our books are terrible. We're not doing it right. And I looked at that process. There was probably about 2 to 3 hours that they took with us up front, building out a budget for their business, understanding their profit model. A conference call after that with them for about an hour to just have them verify some of the information in the financials. And then another 2 hours or so after that to help us go through the books and just get things cleaned up. I mean, under 10 hours total of the client or the business owner's time was committed to overhauling and optimizing their financial reporting process. And now they have a clear understanding of what their revenue needs to be on a weekly basis, for this business, and how many jobs they have to do to meet their goals. And now they're really hands off, and they get things just taken care of for them by somebody else, and they're seeing that clear return on that because of the time they put in up front.
Yes, and this is the key point here. If you do not have a solid set of books and reports, management reports that you're using in your business, you're actually spending a great deal amount of more time on your financial piece of your business. Subconsciously, consciously, what have you, you are spending more time when you have a situation like that than when you do and the time that you invest into obtaining and managing a good set of financials.
So then after that, how much time on an ongoing basis does it take for the business owner to go through the numbers? Is that kind of a one-time thing, or how much time on a routine basis then? If you have someone helping you with it and everything is set up.
If you have someone helping you with this and developing the management reports, you should really only be spending a couple hours on a quarterly basis. Because again, the information is going to be trusted, and you're going to have your financial indicators, your key performance indicators right there in front of you on some sort of a dashboard, or hopefully a 1 or 2 page report that is easily read, and you can pick it up at any time and know where you're at.
Absolutely. The sooner that any business owner can get to a point where they're thinking about what changes they're going to make or what they're going to do instead of where are we?
Yes.
That's the decision maker right there. That's the key factor. That's really the driving motive behind having things cleaned up and organized. So.
It really is. And so as an entrepreneur, I know it can be very sort of ominous to start the budgeting process and get your books into shape and have good management reports. But again, the time that you invest on the front end is going to pay in spades on the back end.
And that beginning process, that onboarding process, I know a lot of the accounting software systems, if a client is, or if a business owner is already using them, a lot of them can be shared with that third party. A lot of them have a feature to have things cross over. Or if an accountant is helping out or a CPA, sometimes that individual or team can work with this new financial manager to make it less burdensome on the owner. That's the goal, is that it shouldn't be this major time sucker for the business owner to start. I mean, it should be smooth, and there should be progress made soon, right away in the process.
We all have a passion for the businesses that we have and own. And we want to be able to spend the time on the passions that we have,
Right.
versus perhaps doing the bookkeeping piece of it if it's really not your passion. And so, again, getting back to what you just said, Jared, some of the accounting programs have features where you can share them with other professionals in your business or professionals that you use outside of your business. For example, your tax preparation accountants. That information that you provide to them can certainly shorten the tax preparation process, assuming everything, again, is reconciled and the books are a trusted source of truth.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's obviously a valuable step, and there's no price you can put on for being able to manage your business by the numbers. It's just, it's invaluable. So, well, Jeannie, thank you so much for taking time here today to talk through how long it takes to get ramped up and to get optimized from a financial perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.